Hey, it's me, MLB. Here is chapter 9 of Shattered Image, and this one is titled Anger Issues. Even if they do know, you said with a sigh. Whatever, I don't care anymore. Sero gave you a side glance but didn't say anything. Well, either way, she's still out to fight you, he said. Let her. I already know I can beat her, you replied confidently. I kind of actually want to see her caught in my quirk, you replied, that sadistic smile gracing your face. I'd love to send her insane. I wonder how she'd feel then. You let out a little unhinged chuckle, and the hair on the back of Sero's neck stood on end. Well, just make sure that you're not in uniform, if it ever happens. Aizawa might not take kindly to it, he said. You thought for a second and then conceded. Fine, okay, you grumped, and he relaxed. At least he had stopped you from being in the school uniform if you were going to act up a bit. At the end of the forest track, you parted ways and went home, spending your evenings relaxing and doing homework, and then the next morning it was off to school again. It seemed that you both had some kind of in-sync clock for getting to the school in the morning because you both got to the forest track at the same time and he gave you a smile as you met. Did you have a good sleep last night? He asked as you fell in step. Yeah, I guess. You asked. Yeah, pretty good, Sero replied. You ready for PE today? No, you deadpanned. He chuckled. Yeah, it's like that, he said back to you, the conversation ending there while you continued on the track. You were both almost out of the forest at the other end when you stopped and looked up. What? Sero asked as he stopped behind you and looked up as well. There ahead, through the thinning foliage, he could see his classmate Iida standing at the school gate, and he smiled. Oh, it's Iida, he said. He's our classmate. Yeah, I know, but what's he doing here? You asked stiffly. I don't know. Sero shrugged. Let's go and ask him. He's waiting for us, he said. What do you mean? I don't think he's waiting for us. No one has seen us come this way, and it's not illegal to come through the back way, Sero said. You still remained stiff and alert. This bitch is up to no good. I can feel it, you said. Sero chuckled. It's Iida. He means no harm, he said with a smile. Come on. And with that he stepped forwards and you fell in step behind him. It's not like you were scared. You were rarely scared of anything. It was more that you were worried about how angry you were going to get, and if you got mad enough you might use your quirk on him. So probably better to stay behind a little bit. I bet I could shut him up real quick if I used my quirk on him, you thought with a malicious grin on your face. Hey Iida, Sero greeted with a smile. What brings you here? Sero, I would like to have a word with you and... He looked behind Sero and saw you and pursed his lips together. Yin. Yeah? Sero asked as he stopped at the gate. What is it? From now on, you and Yin will enter the school via the front gate like everybody else, he said strictly. And what if we don't? You shot back, stepping out from behind Sero. Iida pushed his glasses further up on the bridge of his nose and looked at you sternly. We are proud members of this fine school, and no student should be slinking off out our back gate to return home. We must be proud and show ourselves leaving the school with diligence and pride, he said. Hiding and taking the back gate of the school is disrespectful to UA, the teachers, and all of our fellow students, he added firmly. You know what else is disrespectful? You shot back. Your face. Oh, okay, hold on, Sero said, putting his arm out to physically block the conversation. Iida, I understand what you're trying to say, but this way suits Yin and myself since it's closer of an exit to our home. We're not intentionally trying to disrespect anyone. We're merely trying to get home faster so that we can get home to do our homework quicker, he said, trying to make his argument sound more favourable. I am sorry, Sero, but I must stand by the school. Being a council member of Dickhead Land? I beg your pardon, Iida spluttered. You heard me, mother trucker. If you get in our way again, you'll have hell to pay. Now move your sorry ass out of the way and shut up. We're going home however we want, you snapped at him. I must reprimand you on your language, Yin. It is most unbecoming, Iida started to say, and then his eyes glazed over and he stood still. Sero looked at him, and then at you, and then back to him, and suddenly realised that you had used your quirk on him. Okay, let's go, you said as you stepped around the frozen Iida and opened the school gate. Wait, you can't leave him like this, Sero said with a little concern. Please deactivate. No, screw him. He only needs 10 minutes in there and his brain starts to fry, he said with a malicious smirk. Let's see him act all high and mighty then. Another one gets taken by the padded van, right? The sadistic grin on your face grew the longer Iida was locked inside your quirk hold, and Sero started to worry. Let him go, and I'll deal with him, okay? He begged. Please, I've covered for you so far. No one knows why you want to go through the back way. Do me this one favour, please. Your malicious smirk slowly faded into anger, and you clicked your tongue to the roof of your mouth and then deactivated your quirk, and Iida flopped to the ground, with Sero only just catching him in time. Angry and kinda annoyed that you had let Sero talk you out of it, you just turned and walked off and left the rest to Sero. 20 minutes later, you were in class, glaring out the window with the classroom full of students around you, when Aizawa walked in and started setting up. Pass these papers out, he said as he passed a bunch of papers to the curly-haired brunette in the front row, and he started passing them back to the students behind. You took a paper and passed them on, and then before you knew it, Aizawa was right beside your desk. Come and see me in the first break, he said, and then walked off, and you were confused for a second, and then suddenly jumped to a conclusion. That bitch ass with the glasses snitched on me, you seethed, glaring across at Iida, who was none the wiser that you were death-glaring him. He was too focused on the paper in front of him, so you switched your glare to Sero across the opposite side of the room and growled internally. You ratted me out too. I bet you went with that other blue-haired glasses bitch, and you both snitched to Aizawa about me using my quirk. Well, screw you, you seethed internally at him. As you were glaring at Sero, he looked up and over at you and froze when he saw your death stare at him. He blinked a few times and then cocked his head to the side as if to say, What's up? But you couldn't tell him and so just looked away, still with glare on your face. Sero was rightly confused and kept looking at your angry side profile. What's her problem? He wondered. First break came and you stood up so violently you almost knocked your desk over. Your anger had slowly been building since that time that Aizawa had told you to come to him, and by the end of the 50-minute class you were so ropeable you were liable to strangle someone with their own hair. What? You snapped as you approached Aizawa's desk, nearly knocking another classmate over as you marched over to get there. Manners, Yin, Aizawa said calmly, not looking up at you yet and keeping his head down while writing something on the paper in front of him. Is that all we care about here? Manners and pride and bullcrap like that? Screw this school, you snapped. Aizawa put his pen down slowly and looked up at you from under his heavy fringe, his dark eyes looking quite menacing as his hair started to float around him. Take a seat right now and shut your mouth, he said darkly, and he appeared so threatening that you did just as he said and pulled up a chair and sat down. Now, he said, glancing around to make sure the classroom was empty before continuing. I was going to ask you how you're finding the school, but it appears that you've already answered my question. Huh? You asked, blinking at him. If you aren't going to use manners, then I can very easily increase your homework load and call your parents in for a chat, he said. Okay, sorry. Why are you asking how I'm finding the school? You asked with confusion. I thought you were going to tell me off for this morning. What happened this morning? Aizawa asked with genuine curiosity. Oh, now she's got to put her foot in it. Stay tuned for, sorry guys, next week. I'll see you next Thursday or Wednesday for the Americans, or Thursday. I'll see you next week for the following chapters. See you then.